Hello, myself Sunil Ramkrishnan Nair. Basically, myself, my last designation was as a software delivery head, and basically, my qualification side is graduation from commerce, and in other qualification, I had done my HDSE, higher diploma in software engineering, and MCP basically, and more than 22 years experience in software industry basically. So basically, today we are going to discuss about that questions basically we have asked in 85th number formula part 85th number, and in this basically 86th number we are going to give little bit answer of the each and every questions. So first question basically we have asked was, what is the dream project of the project manager, project director, and project owner basically, or company owner basically you can say. So what do you mean by dream basically? Dream means what? Dream is, for example, in software industry somebody has achieved the goal and nobody in this world has achieved that goal. Also, basically, that is one dream basically which is got fulfilled. Yeah, so that is dream basically. So dream has basically created by the certain groups basically that you can say. For example, in IT industry, somebody achieved the certain goals basically, and nobody has achieved that goal till now basically, till the date basically when the dream was fulfilled basically. So the task was fulfilled basically. So task is equal to dream also you can say. So whatever task basically which was not achieved by the anyone in the industry, if anybody fulfills that task and do the task and finish the task, that also within the certain time period, then basically you can say that is the dream basically which was created by that person basically. That is dream of that person basically you can say. So the person, the people basically who have saw that the person has fulfilled the dream and fulfilled the certain task basically, and which basically that is a record, and who basically was not, nobody has fulfilled this type of requirements basically. So this has converted into dream basically. So dream is dream for other people basically, so that basically in future they will achieve this task, and they will be going to fulfill this task, so that basically becomes the dream for that other people basically. So which type of projects basically are there in this software industry, that if you fulfill that projects basically, then basically you can say that yes, I have fulfilled the project, I have fulfilled my dream basically. So there are basically many projects, many certains, but the base of the software industry of each and every projects comes in this way only. That is basically the root basically of the software industry entire project basically, whatever big project. For example, there are 3 lakh table projects. 3 lakh tables are in this one project basically. If you calculate that project also, that also comes to and comes under certain projects that are basically 1,000 cities created into on the base of text box basically. That is basically you can say other word, text box is created on the base of 1,000 cities basically. So text box creation basically has happened on the base of 1,000 cities basically. So this is basically dream basically. This who somebody has achieved this dream, who is telling that yes, we have achieved this dream, and nobody in this world basically can achieve other than this dream. That are basically because this is the base basically. The IT industry, when the IT industry was started, the software so the when the software, the IT industry was started, and when with that time basically the software industry was getting designed, that time basically the software industry's base basically who has created, that is basically this, that is basically text box equal to 1,000 cities basically. So this is basically the dream project basically you can say, for the each and every software companies, each and every software companies owner. Basically they want to fulfill this dream basically. So basically that basically they can directly they can't do basically this fulfill, because they are basically not aware about this all the thing basically, that is basically 1,000 cities has created on the base of the text box, and the text box is created on the base of this 1,000 cities, because government will never disclose the private part. This is really basically a um, private property also you can say of the government basically you can say, because it's a secret basically, because no, mostly basically 95% people in the software industry don't know that the text box is created on the base of thousand cities basically. Because the people who are paying the big amounts, like Microsoft is there, SAP is there, Salesforce is there, PHP is there, Python is there, Python is there, COBOL is there, C is there, C++ is there, Java is there. So basically, these people are paying the money to the government on the base of directly. Basically, they are not telling, the government is not directly telling that you are paying the amount for the text box equal to thousand cities. They are directly not telling, but they are telling that you have to pay the certain amount that is basically in the form of tax. Basically, you have to pay. So directly, basically, they are not telling it that you are paying. That means basically, what are the things getting clear? That things are getting clear that there are lots of things basically which are hidden in the text, in the tax basically, that you can say. So there are lots of things which are basically hidden in the tax basically. This also you can say, and nobody will never ask basically that basically we want the detail of the tax basically. Because the people basically who are into the software industry, they will never able to understand basically that basically the text box is equal to thousand cities. Basically text box is created on the base of thousand cities. Basically this type of questions never basically will never come into your mind. Basically the text box is created on the base of thousand cities. How that basically that is possible? Because it's a normal text box. It's a base basically of the software industry basically, but the base is created by some certain groups basically. That basically has to understand. That basically has the software industry have to understand this basically point. That is basically thousand cities has created on the base of text box, and the text box is created on the base of text box. Thousand cities. So basically, when government tells that you are basically you are basically going to jump into this dream project basically, that basically government will tell, but government will going to tell that thing basically when the software company basically who is doing the project basically, when they will jump into some good projects basically, and they are doing some certain good task basically in the across the world basically. Then only basically the government will approve their project basically, and the government will give the certain projects basically. Yeah, you can do these projects. This will be a dream project basically, we can say. Like this basically, you are going to jump into the text box equal to thousand cities basically, that project basically. So that basically there are many projects basically which goes on in these cities basically. uh, so that basically is the dream project basically, you can say, of the directors, company owners, and the mm, project manager basically, you can say. So this is basically a secret of the government, and the government says that I will take one example basically what basically that project will be. For example, everybody might be knowing that each and every blood cells basically have honor. That basically everybody knows after this 85th part basically is already completed. That means each and every blood group basically, for example, A is there, B is there, B positive, O negative, O positive, like this the blood cells group basically, which basically has created by the certain groups basically. This all are created basically, you can say. So these all are created on the base with the by the certain groups basically, you can say. So they, if I say that blood groups have honor, then basically very less people will basically able to understand. But the people basically who actually know, who created the city, who are basically into the creation of cities, who basically are ruling the cities, who are ruling the states, who are ruling the countries, they basically can understand um, what actually the blood group is, and how basically you can say that one blood group is connected with the certain groups basically, that are basically that have the blood honor also. So that blood honor basically, you can say the blood honors whatever projects basically you will be doing, whatever projects basically you will be doing, that project is going to connect to that blood group basically honor. This is basically one of the dream projects of the project owner, project director, software company, and the project manager. So this will be the dream project basically, and this basically are very critical projects basically that also you can say. So basically many less people basically like Microsoft is there, SAP projects, SAP companies are there. Basically whatever company basically who are into the base projects, base creation software basically, that are basically Microsoft is there, Microsoft give .NET basically. So like this basically this all project, so this all company basically, so this all are the base company basically you can say. So this all base company basically can only able to fulfill this dream project because they are basically they know basically what text box is, what is combo box, because they know basically each and everything because they are paying the money of the subscription basically. So on the base of that basically they can easily be able to understand basically they are setting the environment of the cities basically because each and every city is having Microsoft energy, Microsoft blood cells is there in the each and every people's bodies basically. Most of basically people have the Microsoft blood cells. Mostly basically 90% of people have the Microsoft blood cells inside their body. And basically that will so lots of waters are also there, basically created on the base of Microsoft software. Basically, you can say like this. Basically, each and Microsoft basically know this also. Like this, basically, there are many things basically which are connected with each other. So this is basically. I will take one example of this dream project. Basically, one small example I will take. Uh, the example is basically, for example, one person told that you have to create the basically one software company, big software company like TCS, Accenture, or Patani is there, BMC is there, then Collabora is there. Like this, basically, the software companies basically got one project basically that is the they want to create the vegetables basically you can say one tomato basically you can say. So they got the project of the tomato creation project basically, tomato vegetable creation projects basically. So they basically told that this to the project was basically going to create in the Microsoft .NET basically. So like this basically they told this to the Microsoft people, and Microsoft people basically told that yeah, we have configured your base project, that is basically going to which basically you are going to create a tomato project basically, tomato software basically you can say. The software is going to generate a energies basically, and then basically chemicals, and then basically the nuclear company is going to do the process, the power company is going to do the process, and the energy companies are going to do this lots of process basically. There are many basically there are many steps basically, it's very lengthy steps basically. So like this, basically the Microsoft has deployed the .NET development kit to the software company. Like this, basically they created the project on the base of certain attributes. They have the certain attributes that if you have to, they have to create the project in modular ways. Like this, basically there are lots of requirements basically which was basically given by the group basically who basically are into this type of projects basically. So like this, basically the project was created, and the software company basically has created the basically there are lots of steps are there, testings are there. Then only basically the project gets launched basically, because the lots of internal testing happens with the set of groups basically, because few people basically are used into testing of the projects only basically. There are lots of people like this also. Like this basically the project was tested, and then basically it was um, jumped into the market, and then basically the tomato also jumped into the market. Tomato human needs basically also came into the market, and then basically people were using this tomato as a product basically, and they were using as a human need also. Like this the process is happening, and then basically the recycle reprocess happens. Like this basically lots of process happen, then basically project gets modified because according to the data which is getting by the reprocessed from that body basically you can say. Like this lots of process happen. Like this the lots of medicines are created, because you can't say that one tomato basically which is used by the another one person, why there is there are basically many blood group basically who are using the project, who are using the tomato. So it's not possible that each and every blood group is going to suit this tomato basically. It might possible that they get disease. like this, the R&D center have already done the R&D and the medicine is already prepared. Like this, basically the medicine will given. Like this, basically there are many steps basically and many circles basically, which comes into the picture after the creation of tomato and the maintenance of the project. Like this, basically this is the one of the dream project basically we can say of the project manager for basically of the project manager is telling that this is my dream project. The director is also telling that this is my dream project. The software company owner is also telling that this is my one of the dream project basically. So here basically we are stopping, and this is basically 86th number, 87th number we are going to discuss second number question.